What's up, guys? It is the man with the hottest wheels, Corey Hot Wheels, coming at you with another episode of Wrestling with Wheels. So, before we get started, I want to ask you guys your opinion on something. Okay, and I'll post this when I post the link on Twitter and Facebook and, like regular viewers of my channel, like, please let me know. But I'm thinking, instead of doing Wrestling with Wheels weekly, like maybe make it a monthly thing. Because, and it's not that I don't like doing it, because I love doing this for you guys. And, I love giving my opinions on the business and, things going on in the world of wrestling. But, it's kind of hard to do it weekly when, sometimes I may go a week or two without watching an episode of a promotion. I may have like 2 or 3 backed up on my DVR because, and it's not that I don't like wrestling. I mean, I love wrestling. But, I love other things too. I mean, you see my collection of gaming systems behind me. I don't always want to just pour my time into wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Because I have staff weekly, and, I want to give time to, like, my video games, my Lego builds, other things that I enjoy doing, too. And, and sometimes, like, I feel like it's hard to find points to talk about every single week. Because I want to give every wrestling promotion that's on TV, the same amount of attention. Like, especially with Impact, and I've said this before, it's hard to find points to talk about every week because they only run a 2-hour show on Thursday nights. And, with football season here now, shout out to my Browns on getting the win today, but don't worry, Bengals. I still love you too, but I was born in Cleveland, so Cleveland will always have my heart. But, so I feel like, for the next few months, like, I'm still going to watch wrestling. Like, I'm never going to give up watching wrestling. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But, especially, with the Bengals, having a lot of primetime games this year. I like to watch the Eagles and the Cowboys. My Browns are, a lot of Sundays at 1 o'clock, so I like to watch my Browns. But, so, I feel like, like maybe I should just take this Wrestling with Wheels to, like, 1 episode a month, like, because, that gives all the monthly pay-per-views time to happen, and, it'll give us more of a talking point where we can talk about, more storylines and, how they're developing or how they have developed, as opposed to, like, every week. Because, like, a lot of my points here this week are from All Out. Because I do like recapping the pay-per-views. But with AEW, it's hard to do that because they are a pay-per-view. Which means I gotta pay like 40 or 50 bucks to watch it. And I don't have that kind of money to do that. I can watch WWE and a vast majority of Impact's monthly shows, with the exception of the few that are on pay-per-view with Impact, because they're on a streaming service. So, I could just pay monthly or yearly for that and watch it. So, but I will say, when I do get around to watching Victory Road, I did not realize it was this week. I thought it was next weekend. When I do watch that, I will make a video talking about that. Just to show Impact, some love. Like I said, I try to show all the promotions some love, But, that's what I'm thinking about doing, going down to maybe one show a month. But if you guys really enjoy seeing this weekly, I will try my best. But, it does get hard. And I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm not giving up on being a content creator. In fact, I'm looking to get some more equipment, like a webcam, for my Xbox, so you guys can actually see me, when I'm streaming from my Xbox, or maybe a webcam to put on top of my upper PC monitor. That way, like, if I decide to do a Lego build, like, I can do a better angle and you guys can, like, see the table and see me putting the set together. And so, but, I don't want this channel to be just wrestling based. You know what I'm saying? That's why I try to do game reviews. That's why I, live stream me building a Lego set on Twitch and, exported it over to my YouTube. But, I don't know, guys, that's just what I'm thinking. But, if you guys really, really want Wrestling with Wheelz weekly, all you gotta do is comment and let me know, and I will try to get that out weekly. But like I said, with football season here now, that's going to be a lot harder, because obviously if one of my teams are playing on primetime, like a Monday night, Thursday night, whatever, obviously I'm going to watch that. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, guys, let's get into this week's episode of Wrestling with Wheelz. And I have a couple bullet points here to talk about with AEW. The first one is, I believe it was this past week, that CM Punk was let go from AEW after a backstage incident at All In Wembley that involved him getting into an altercation with Jack Perry, who was suspended because of that incident. And reportedly he did, literally come at Tony Khan, and after Tony announced on Collision that he spoke to a committee, they suggested letting him go, which Tony Khan did. I grew up watching CM Punk, like, about the second year I was into wrestling was like the summer of Punk, and I watched all of that, and, followed his year-long reign as WWE Champion, and, I've pretty much followed CM Punk his entire career, ever since, like, 2009, all the way up until now, and I was excited to see him return to AEW, but, it just unfortunately didn't work out, because, as good of a wrestler as CM Punk is, and as much as people love him, he has a way of just being a menace backstage. And it's like, I haven't been in the wrestling business very long. This weekend will be my second show. But, I don't care how long you've been in the business, how good you are, how much of a following you have. You don't have the right to have an ego backstage and disrespect the promoter, just be a bully to other talent. No one has the right to do that. So, I mean, I think CM Punk, I think he just needs to if he has a podcast or something, that would be good because, he can still be involved. But as far as being in any locker rooms, I just don't think he needs to be there. Unless he can somehow straighten his attitude up. And then another thing we saw on AEW recently was Orange Cassidy, at the time who was AEW International Champion, face off against Penta. And I want to talk about this match for one reason. Now, I know I criticize AEW a lot, but I love watching AEW. I'm sure there's people that think I'm a WWE mark or a WWE fanboy now. I mean, I try to talk about all wrestling companies when they do good and all wrestling companies when they do bad. And as you know, this is a bad point out because I love Penta. I've seen Penta live. I've met Penta. Nice guy. I love Orange Cassidy. But I did not like when they were doing the Canadian Destroyer and they just stood up after it. That just, I understand, okay, maybe one, but they were doing multiple. And, Canadian Destroyer, it's one of the most, it's a finisher for a lot of people. And to just no sell it like that, I just did not personally care for that. I mean, it was a good match, other than that, but I just did not care for the multiple Canadian Destroyers and no selling those. And my boys, Platinum Max, Anthony Bowens, and Daddy Ass Billy Gunn are the new Trios champions. I love the Acclaim. I love Max Caster. I actually did a parody rap of Max Caster's, controversial rap that got him in trouble once. I never posted it, nor will I ever. I just did that as some people who made me mad a couple times, and I just did it for my own therapeutic reasons. I will never share that rap with anybody. That was just, and I don't really, I've moved past all those instances in my life, but at the time, watching him do that, and, people were just like, oh, shit, he really went off in that one, and, so I tried to do my own little version of that, one time, shameless plug, but, like I said, It was actually funny because I did it when I was with one of my friends, and she came here one time and she thought I added her to the rap, and one of the first things she was like, delete me from your rap, and I'm just like, no, you're not in the rap. I haven't really messed with that since, when I showed it to you. That was just kind of like a one and done thing, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get into the all-out results. First off, we had Better Than You, Baby, my other favorite tag team in AEW. I really need to get me a shirt. Excuse me. They defended their newly won ROH Tag Team titles successfully against Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Now, I have talked about this. I do love this new aggressive side that Dark Order has been showing on ROH as of late. But, I don't think they were ready to win the tag team titles, especially since Adam Cole and MJF just won them. So, not really a surprise in that match. And then we had Samoa Joe retain his ROH World Television title against Shane Taylor. Now, Shane Taylor, even when I first started watching Ring of Honor, was somebody that always impressed me. And, I like Samoa Joe too, so, I think it would have been cool to see Shane Taylor as ROH TV champion again, but Samoa Joe's doing wonderful with the belt, so I understand why they kept it on him. And then we had Luchasaurus accompanied by Christian Cage. He retained his TNT title against Darby Allin. Now, I love Luchasaurus, but I don't like, and I know it's just because Christian's a heel, and I like Christian too, especially as a heel. But I don't like that Christian is carrying around the TNT title, claiming he's champion when Luchasaurus was the one that won it from Wardlow in the first place. I know it's Christian doing heel things, but it's like, and I get it, we have to be patient and let the story play out, but I just don't like Christian carrying around the title, claiming that he's the champion when he's really not. And then we had Miro defeat Powerhouse Hobbs, and CJ Perry, also known as Lana, which is Miro's wife, made her debut in AEW. And, since Miro's been on this thing of renouncing everything he once knew, renounced her, like, it's like, I don't want you here, blah, 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 blah. And I guess it was on Collision. I haven't watched it yet. Lana was like, oh, you can't renounce me, so who knows where this story will go, but hopefully it's not another Bobby Lashley Lana story again, because, oh, God, that story was awful. It was just absolute dog crap. And then Chris Statlander defeated Ruby Soho for the AEW TBS title. I don't know. I love Ruby, but it's like every time she gets in a title match, they just do not pull the trigger on her. And it's like, and I know Chris Statlander hasn't had the belt very long, but it's like, come on. There was times Ruby could have won the belt, and they didn't pull the trigger. And then the returning Bryan Danielson defeated Ricky Starks in a no DQ strap match. Ricky Steamboat went into Collision thinking he was going to face Ricky Steamboat after he beat him like a government mule on another episode of Collision, as good old JR would say. But it just said the American Dragon. Or the Dragon. And then the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, came out, which it has also been announced this week that, this is the final year that Bryan Danielson is going to be an active wrestler. So, Bryan, thank you so much for all the years of sacrifices you have made for your fans and entertaining us all around the world, whether it was in Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW. I remember watching YesOlmania and was totally behind you. And, whether you were a good guy or a bad guy, you always entertained us, man. So, thank you for what you've done for the pro wrestling business. And then we had the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta defeat Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata. Yeah, I don't know. I love the Blackpool Combat Club. I love their violence, but, and I'm probably going to get laughed at for saying this, but I really do not give a shit. It is time to put, I know he's the New Japan Strong Champion or whatever it is, but it is time to put an AEW title on Eddie Kingston. He's over. He's earned it. You know, and I get it, you know, they wanted to have the heels win, but I don't know. I think I would have went the other way and had Kingston and Shibata win. And then we had Konosuke Takeshita defeat Kenny Omega with Don Callis in his corner. I know at All In, Konosuke rolled Kenny up, but like I said, you know, when I talked about All In, you know, I like, you know, that they're pushing Takeshita. I think he's a really good wrestler, and who better to help him out than the god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega. And then we had an 8-man tag title match, Bullet Club Gold, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. They defeated FTR, which is Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, and the Young Bucks, which consist of Matt and Nick Jackson. I don't know why this match was randomly thrown together. I mean, considering that, you know, FTR beat the Bucks at All In, the Bucks refused to shake their hand, and then at Collision the Bucks tried and the FTR refused, so I don't know what that match was for, unless, you know, it was to help elevate Bullet Club Gold. That's the only sense I would make of it personally. And then we had the AEW International Championship match, which saw Jon Moxley defeat Orange Cassidy to become the new AEW International Champion. You know, I criticize Moxley for bleeding all the time, which I still do not think he needs to do that in a one-on-one match. Regular one-on-one match, I should say. But, you know, he is a good champion, and I can see him, you know, having a good reign with the international title, especially since he competes all over the world, like in New Japan and other independent promotions. But Orange Cassidy, he was a hell of a champion. Had some great matches, and, you know, we all thought that, you know, he was going to take this time to heal up because he had some injuries, but Orange Cassidy came out and said on Dynamite that he's still going to compete. So, as I always say on this show, we shall wait and see what happens. But now, switching gears, let's talk about some things going on in the WWE. And at Payback, Judgment Day acquired all the gold, with the exception of the World Heavyweight and the Universal title. But Damian and Finn are the tag team champions, along with Priest holding the Money in the Bank. Dom's the North American champion, and Rhea is the women's world champion. So Judgment Day is the top faction in the WWE right now. And then Damian Priest was gifted by J.D. McDonough, and, you know, both of these points are going to tie in together, a new Money in the Bank briefcase. But it is said that, you know, that new design does not actually hold the contract in it. The original one does. And it has been speculated by people on the internet that, you know, Finn is going to steal the briefcase and cash it in for himself to become world champion, which, I mean, I think that would be different, you know, because we never had that. I mean, we've had people lose the briefcase, you know. Mr. Kennedy lost it to Edge. Otis lost it to The Miz. But, we never had somebody steal it. So this would be a really interesting story should that happen. And then we had the awesome Intercontinental title match between Gunther and Chad Gable. And you hate to see kids cry, but that really solidified Gunther as a heel. When Chad Gable's kids were sitting in the crowd crying. And it looked to be genuine, maybe they didn't understand, what was really going on. But Chad Gable had a hell of a showing, and he's really proving himself to be an awesome single star. And then we had the Miz TV, where the Miz interviewed an invisible John Cena and proceeded to beat him up. Now I know everybody makes memes about John Cena and this whole "you can't see me" thing, but that was kind of stupid. I'm gonna be honest, WWE, that was really kind of dumb. Having Miz beat up an invisible John Cena. Yeah, I really do not understand what the point of that was. I was kind of sitting there. I understand humor and whatnot, but not really my sense of humor personally. And then we have Becky Lynch coming to NXT to challenge Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's title. Now, they could be doing what they did with Dolph Ziggler and Braun Breaker, where Dolph won it in that triple threat match, and then on the Raw after Mania, Dolph put Braun over to, solidify him as one of the top stars, as the future. But, I don't know. I understand the NXT title was the only one that eluded Becky Lynch, so they could have her win it, and then maybe in a triple threat match, Tiffany will win the belt back, and not maybe Becky will just, Tiffany will use underhanded tactics and Becky will put her over. I don't know what's gonna happen, but. I can see it going either way, but I agree with the people online. I think either way, even if you have Becky win it, I know people are going to be like, "Oh, Tiffany's buried." It's no. I don't think Becky needs the title personally, but either way, I think in the end, Tiffany Stratton's going to benefit from it. So. And that's one thing I've always respected about WWE. I don't always like, when they change well-known indie people, but, change their name or their gimmick or whatever. But I do like WWE building their own homegrown stars. These athletes that come in from other ventures, and WWE build them up, train them, and they become stars and they become popular, so. I respect WWE's vision for that. But anyway, guys, that is going to conclude this episode of Wrestling with Wheelz. I will more than likely, like I said, be doing this at the end of the month. I'll do another one. And then, I'll do one toward the end of October. But, I'll pop on here with, toy unboxings or gameplay videos or or if there's a big major headline, I'll talk about it. And I'll probably review every monthly show that I can watch. I'll hop on here and review that. But as far as Wrestling with Wheelz go, that's probably going to be a once in a month thing unless a bunch of people get in the comments no, do this every week, we enjoy it. But like I said, with football season up now here, and that sort of thing. And maybe I'll hop on here and talk about football. Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.